My name is Josh Ederington. I'm a professor in the Department of Economics at the University of Kentucky. I'm at the Catholic University of Leuven, and my grant is for the study of international environmental agreements. Basically, I'm looking at both the design and structure of international environmental agreements, as well as the effect of signing international environmental agreements on trade flows, on the country's competitiveness. So I think it helps to have sort of a central theme, a clear idea that you're working on. And I do think it helps to have that idea have some degree of practical relevance, saying that is relevant, especially for the Fulbright Schuman Program, is relevant to the European Union and European Union relations, that is practically relevant. So I guess the idea behind my research I have these long-standing interests in international trade agreements, the design and structure of international trade agreements, and also questions of incorporating the country's domestic policies, its environmental regulations, its labor standards, into conventional international trade agreements. So the idea of the Fulbright Schuman Grant, the research project here, was to extend that to sort of look at international environmental agreements, because the issues that are being looked at with international environmental agreements, in many ways they're parallels to international trade agreements, but there are obviously differences. And when you look at environmental policies, there's parallels between trade policies, environmental policies, but there are also differences. And so one of the things I do think I would like to continue this line of research, but also it's kind of like what next thing is going to be looking at the linkages between environmental agreements and trade agreements, and questions of how closely to combine these two or keep them separate, things like that. The Fulbright grant is, it's a little way out of where I've been doing before, and so a lot of what I'm trying to learn here are institutional things about how international environmental agreements work, because when you look at international environmental agreements, there are lots of them in the European Union. The vast majority of international environmental agreements are between EU countries. And so what I want to do from this is take the knowledge I've learned about the institutional things and apply that sort of more to my work with conventional trade agreements, which is sort of historically what I've been looking at. Well, as far as the reputation of the Fulbright Schuman, I think it was, in a way, it was kind of important for this particular research project, because I can, when you mention that you're with the Fulbright program or the Fulbright Schuman program, it's easier to get access to things and people and stuff like that. So for me, I'm sort of further along in my career, so it's not as important as far as my, looking on my CV, but I think it was very helpful, the reputation of the program, as far as the research program I'm currently involved with.